Audio Jungle.
The Bali Ministerial Agreement held in Bali, Indonesia. Bali is an island and province of Indonesia. It is a popular tourist destination which has seen a significant rise in tourists since the 1980s. It is renowned for its highly developed arts, including traditional and modern dance, sculpture, painting, leather, metalworking, and music. Bali is a part of the Coral Triangle, the area with the highest biodiversity of marine species. Their language, Balinese and Indonesian, are the most widely spoken languages in Bali, and the vast majority of Balinese people are bilingual or trilingual. The most common spoken language around the tourist areas is Indonesian, as many people in the tourist sector are not solely Balinese, but migrants from Java, Lombok, Sumatra, and other parts of Indonesia. There are several indigenous Balinese languages, but most Balinese can also use the most widely spoken option, the modern Common Balinese. Bali is renowned for its diverse and sophisticated art forms such as paintings, sculpture, wood carving, handcrafts, and performing arts. The World Trade Organization. The World Trade Organization held its 9th Ministerial Conference in Bali, Indonesia, from December 3 to December 7, 2013. A WTO Ministerial Conference, which usually meets every 2 years. It represents the topmost decision-making body of the WTO. It brings together all members of the WTO, all of which are countries or custom unions. The Ministerial Conference can take decisions on all matters under any of the multilateral trade agreements. The Doha round of multilateral trade negotiations, which first launched in 2001, and the successor to Uruguay round, which originally founded the WTO. Plundered in 2009, which negotiators failed to narrow outstanding differences for a short list of highly contentious issues, including designating additional products as sensitive coupled with establishing new tariff quotas, designating developing country products as special and thus exempt from tariff reductions, and allowing developing countries to raise tariffs temporarily to deal with the import surges or price declines.
At the 9th Ministerial Conference, WTO ministers on December 7, 2013 adopted the so-called Bali Package. It is a series of decisions aimed at streamlining, allowing developing countries more options for providing food security, boosting least developed countries' trade, and helping development more generally. The Bali Package represents the first multilateral trade deal in nearly 2 decades. However, it covers only a small fraction of the Doha round mandate and leaves the more difficult trade topics for future negotiations. The Bali Package has measures dealing with 4 principal categories, namely trade facilitation, agriculture, cotton, and development and least developed country issues. Prior to arriving at the Bali Ministerial Conference, WTO agricultural negotiators had selected 5 agricultural issues out of a much larger package of proposals that had been tabled in 2008 as part of the Doha round agricultural negotiations. These 5 agricultural issues were export subsidies and other policies known collectively as export competition, tariff rate quota administration focused on managing persistently underfilled quotas, a temporary peace clause for developing countries above market purchase of commodities for food security stockholding programs, a proposed list of greenbacks eligible general services of particular interest to developing countries, and cotton in response to a proposal from 4 African members. First issue. Policies have the effect of subsidizing export in the international market are grouped together as export competition. The issue under export subsidies is WTO wanted to solidify commitments that had been made during Doha round negotiations in 2008. The outcome on these issues is the Bali text represents a compromise between members seeking legal commitment to reduce subsidies and those who argued that this could not be done in Bali without matching steps on agricultural market access, domestic support, and the rest of the broader Doha round package.
Second issue, Tariff Rate Quota Administration. Tariff rate quota is used to allow limited access at below tariff rate for an imported commodity to domestic market. The issue under Tariff Rate Quota Administration is, some countries are concerned that the methods government use to share and below quota trade among exporters can become an additional trade barriers when part or all of the quota are not used. The outcome is, if quota are determined to be underfilled due to inadequate administration, then an encumbered access must be granted by one of two prescribed methods described below. Determining tariff rate quota fill rate compliance by monitoring its first to third year during the procedure and review period, and impose tariff rate quota administration mechanism. Third issue, Peace clause for food purchase for food security stockholding. Issue, the WTO's Green Box allow unlimited spending on food acquisition by members' government for public stockholding for food security purpose as long as the food is purchased at current market price. Outcome: intense last-minute negotiations produced a compromise text granting developing countries a temporary 4-year peace clause for use of programs that purchase food at above market price for food security stockholding while agreeing to work to find a permanent solution.
Fourth issue, General Services. Issue on General Services. The agreement on agriculture's green box lists 7 categories of general services have no limit on spending. The 7 categories includes research, pest and disease control, training and services, extension and advisory services, inspection services, marketing and promotion services, infrastructural services. The outcome: members note that the current list of general services under Annex 2 is not meant to be exhaustive, and that the additional programs identified above could be considered as falling within the scope of Annex 2 General Services Program. Fifth issue, Cotton. Issue on cotton. The publicity associated with the long-running WTO Brazil dispute settlement case against US. Cotton support programs has had consequences. Outcome: WTO negotiating committees decided that the new C4 proposal was presented too close to the Bali Ministerial to allow for proper vetting. Specifically, the final Bali context agreed to as part of Ministerial agreement.
Status of the Bali Agreement. The Bali Agreement was adopted by the WTO on December 7, 2013. A key condition of this interim solution was that developing country must take steps to make sure that the stocks procured under these stockholding schemes do not distort trade nor affecting the food security of others. The deal also set a 2017 deadline to negotiate a permanent solution to the food security issue, with an interim report due in 2015. Deadlock on implementation. Ahead of July 31 and in apparent violation of the agreement that had been reached in December 2013, India proposed the approval of the TFA protocol until a permanent solution was reached on the issue of the food stockholding programs. India's delaying proposal was supported by the 3 other WTO countries. Several WTO members, including a group of 25 members led by Australia and Norway, released public statement declaring the idea of reopening Bali package, saying it would unveil an entire package
The WTO member failed to resolve the impasse ahead of the July 31 deadline. US-India Agreement resolved impasse. The United States and India reached an agreement on a set of measures intended to break the impasse in the work of the WTO to implement the agreements reached last December at the WTO Ministerial in Bali. The bilateral agreement consists of the two key elements. These are 1. Move the Trade Facilitation Agreement forward, and 2. Understanding on specific food security programs. Role for Congress. The U.S. Congress will continue to seek to influence and monitor ongoing trade agreement negotiations, including multilateral negotiations, within the context of the WTO, to ensure that U.S. agricultural, food industry, and consumer interests are reflected in their outcomes.